Hatun.
Hello there, SOCO family. Now, many of you might remember that back in September of last year, there was allegations being made that someone by the name of Edward Little had attempted to come to Speaker's Corner with the intended goal of attempting to kill a particular preacher, a Christian preacher, here at Speaker's Corner. Now, we know now, and I'm going to be reading an article that goes through it, who that Christian preacher was. Spoiler, it was Hatun Tash. This man, Edward Little, came with an intent, allegedly, to come and kill Hatun Tash at Speaker's Corner. And this was on September last year. Now, we have since had more information come to light, and I wanted to go over this because I gave a speech back then, about a month after the event, covering this, when it was announced that he had these charges made against him, that he was allegedly responsible for this horrible intended act, because thank God he never went out and actually did it, or at least he never got as far as the Speaker's Corner, although he did travel. He travelled from Brighton all the way up to London in a taxi with, I believe it was £5,000 in cash, with the intent of purchasing a firearm of which to use to kill Hatun Tash. That was his intent. Now, what's happened recently is that news has come out from, and I'm going to read from the BBC article, that he has indeed changed his plea regarding these allegations. So let me read this out to you. This is from BBC. We'll put a link on the video so you guys can follow along. Speaker's Corner, man admits Hyde Park gun attack plot. Now, this is published in 19th of May 2023. Speaker's Corner is well known as the home of free speech. A man has admitted preparing to murder a Christian preacher at Hyde Park Speaker's Corner in a terrorist attack. Edward Little, aged 21, from Brighton, was carrying £5,000 with which he hoped to purchase a firearm, a passport and 2 phones when he was arrested last year. It was alleged his intended target was Hatun Tash, who regularly argued with other speakers and her camera crew, as well as any other police or soldiers. So his intended target was not just Hatun Tash, but the cameramen, some of whom we know personally here at Speaker's Corner, and any police or soldiers present. This man was going to go down in guns blazing, attacking Hatun Tash because of the things I am now alleging, this is what I am saying, are the things that Hatun Tash was saying about Islam. Critiquing Islam is a dangerous thing here at Speaker's Corner, it seems. Now I can keep reading. He pleaded guilty at the Old Bailey by video link from Belmarsh Jail. So now he's changed his plea. He was pleading not guilty, now he's pleading guilty. He admits that this was his intent, to kill Hatun Tash and others. Earlier this year, Little of Pelham Street denied preparing to commit acts of terrorism, but changed his plea and admitted the charge on Friday. He also admitted researching Hyde Park, where he planned to carry out the attack, collecting money to purchase a gun and travelling to buy it. Little was on his way into London in a taxi, for which he paid £300, which he was stopped and arrested on September 23rd, 2022. He had asked the driver if he could stop and pray in a mosque. So if there was any doubt about the affiliation of this young man, it's quite clear he was a proclaiming Muslim, according to this BBC article. Although the driver had said there was not one on the way. So quite obviously, this guy who, by wanting to visit a mosque, was declaring that he was a Muslim,
Really?
was asking to be let out of the taxi to pray in a mosque. The taxi driver, I don't know who that was, but the taxi driver said, nope, there is no mosque on the way, and he didn't let him do it. So that's quite revealing. Now, shocking previous record. The prosecution alleged Little researched other targets, including military figures and members of the Metropolitan Police. The defense lawyer Tom Godfrey said the 21-year-old only accepted targeting the preacher. So there are allegations that he was perhaps going others as well, but he's only pled guilty to the charge of Hatun Tash, attempted murder of Hatun Tash. As far as I'm aware, that's as I understand it, reading from this article. Again, if I make an error, I apologise, I am only reading from this article. Little declined to answer questions in police interviews, but his mood changed when he was shown a YouTube video of the preacher, that would be Hatun Tash, and he launched himself across the table at an officer, swinging repeatedly with his fists before being restrained. So he was shown a video of Hatun Tash, probably decimating the Quran intellectually, and was unable to constrain himself, and so he started getting violent with others there in the courtroom, according to this BBC article. He went on to admit assaulting the officer at Newbury Police Station on the 28th of September and was sentenced to 40 weeks in prison. So he actually admitted, yes, he did, out of anger, attack an officer. At a previous hearing, Judge Richard Marks said Little had absolutely shocking previous records. So his own criminal record, according to this judge, was shocking. The defendant was convicted of 14 offences on 7 separate occasions, including for robbery, having a knife and drug dealing dating back to 2017. He will be sentenced on 21st of July. Now I want to make it clear, these are allegations. I'm reading from this BBC article. We will obviously wait until the final verdict is given because he has not been sentenced yet, but he has changed his plea from non-guilty to guilty according to BBC News. And we also know that he was trying to go to a mosque on his way there, and we also know his intended plan was for the death of Hatun Tash. Getting a phone call here. Wrap up, this is horrendous. We'll talk about it more as more information comes out. But anyone who's listening to this, leave Islam, or if you're being sincere, look at Christianity. Because Christianity has answers, and we don't have people who are traveling all the way to London from Brighton to shoot down Muslim speakers. We don't have that. Instead, we have the truth, and we're confident in it. So God bless you all. Come to Jesus Christ.
Thank you.
Happy Easter.